Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's latest leaked prototype, EV prices coming down, Cybertruck Range updates, and more, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Tera for sponsoring a portion of this video. First up today, we have some interesting data related to the price of electric cars. A recent study shows that now the average cost of a new EV has dropped to nearly the same as a new gas-powered vehicle. One of the most common misconceptions that people have around electric cars that is holding them back from purchasing is that they are all too expensive. And for a while, this definitely was the case. A lot of the first mainstream electric cars, like the Model S and Model X, were definitely luxury cars that came with a very high price tag. However, it was the success of those vehicles that proved the viability of electric cars to the market and paved the way for the more affordable vehicles we see today. Now, a study by Cox Automotive shows just how much more affordable an EV is nowadays. In 2023, the average transaction price for an EV clocked in at $50,798. By comparison, the average gas-powered vehicle costs $48,759. That is a price difference of only $2,040. The rapidly dropping price of EVs is a huge point in their favor. This is especially relevant when you consider how much you can save over the lifetime of a vehicle in gas and maintenance savings. Once we reach that critical point where EV prices are generally equal to or even less than gas-powered vehicles of all types, then we may see EV adoption skyrocket. As more automakers start rolling out more affordable EVs, that moment may come pretty soon. A lot of manufacturers have introduced some great EV options to the market recently and are doubling down on EV investments. Hyundai's Ioniq 5 starts at $42,985, well below industry averages. Volvo has just rolled out their brand new EX30, which is supposed to start at $35,000 and is shaping up to be a great vehicle. Over the last year, Tesla has made some pretty substantial price cuts to their own cars, and that trend may continue throughout 2024, especially as many of their cheapest Model 3 trims lose their tax credit eligibility. For now, Tesla remains slightly below industry averages, with their average transaction price coming in at $50,051. As Tesla moves forward with plans for their upcoming affordable $25,000 EV, we will likely see their average sale price drop pretty considerably. This is one area that electric cars are admittedly still lacking in, at least in the United States. While EVs are creeping down in price, there are admittedly few options that reach truly affordable price ranges and are a compelling vehicle. For example, let's look at the best-selling non-SUV in the US for several years running, the Toyota Camry. The Camry is an entry-level sedan that starts off at $26,420. There are a few EV options that are similarly priced, like the Nissan Leaf, but that car makes some pretty substantial trade-offs for range. Chevy's popular Bolt EV sells for $27,495, which can be dropped down to around $20,000 with tax incentives. However, Chevy announced that this vehicle would be discontinued as they make the shift to their new Ultium line, and we're not sure how much its replacement may be. BYD manufactures a number of affordable EV models, but for now, those aren't available in the US. As it stands currently, while impressive EVs are constantly being added to the luxury and mid-range sections, the lower end still leaves room for growth. As more cars come out to fill that niche, we should see the average EV prices drop even further. If those new affordable EVs are eligible for a full or partial EV tax credit, then buying one may undeniably be the most practical option for most consumers. The future of EVs looks more promising by the day, and I can't wait to see things shake up for the industry at large. Next up today, we have some updates on the new Model 3, both in Europe and in the US. Some new features have been confirmed, and Tesla is trying to hide the fully upgraded ludicrous model. First, Tesla has released a feature for the Model 3 over in Europe, adaptive headlights. The car will now detect other drivers and cyclists on the road and automatically dim the headlights to cut down on glare for others. This feature utilizes the new Model 3's upgraded headlight technology and is able to dim individual pixels within the light. This will allow you to leave your high beams on for longer, allowing greater visibility in the dark while not interfering with others' visibility. Since this feature relies on this new tech in the Model 3, it is not going to be available on any other models. This is also something that many other cars have delivered, and the hardware has theoretically been there in the past for some Teslas. Now they are finally enabling it with software, and I'm curious to see how well this works. It's not coming to the US. Over in the US, as we await that car's release, we have word on some new features that will be making their debut here. The US version of the new Model 3's owner's manual has been released, and it gives us some insight into how it has changed for its release here. This car now features an additional set of airbags down by the knees, which, quote, limit the forward motion of the front seat occupants by restricting leg movement, thereby positioning the occupants so that the front airbags work more effectively. Likely this has to do with crash test regulation here as compared to Europe, but I am very curious to know what the difference would look like in a crash. Ultimately, Tesla wants to make the safest vehicles across the board, regardless regardless of regulation, so you'd think it would be standard in all markets if it delivers the best possible safety. The car also now features a multifunction light installed into the steering wheel. We're not quite sure what the purpose of this light will be, but it could indicate when the scroll wheel's multifunction ability is active. Another new change is that the rear console will now lock into place while doing certain actions, like making hard accelerations or going up a steep hill. That's something I haven't seen before, at least not specifically detailed, but it will prevent it from suddenly closing or opening when you don't expect it to. This car is currently being produced out of Tesla's Fremont factory and is due for first deliveries by March at the latest. Current timelines for those who ordered say February to March, so we'll see how quickly Tesla can ramp up. Aside from those features that are coming to the Model 3s as available to buy today, we have some more leaks about the upgraded performance model. We have been left waiting for some time on word about a new Model 3 performance trim. Rumor has it that Tesla has something pretty special planned with this car, and that they are going to make much more of an effort to distinguish it from prior models. In older years, the performance Model 3 had definite upgrades, but inside felt quite similar. Most of the body outside was the same as well, it really only had a spoiler and changed wheels and brakes. Underneath there was more to it, but it wasn't too obvious. For this upgraded ludicrous model, though, we have some leaks that suggest it will have quite a few distinct features like sport bucket seats and a rear ludicrous badge. These were spotted on a prototype Model 3, and they match the previous plaid sport seats that leaked. It seems Tesla will be bringing these seats in some form to the Model S and 3 performance variants sometime soon. On top of that, there's the ludicrous badge, but rumors also say the software will be designed to particularly match this car. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Tera. The Tera P01 portable EV charger is a user-friendly charger that seamlessly integrates for plug-and-play charging. It features a smart LED screen that displays amperage, charging speed, input voltage, and delay time. This can output up to 32 amps, offering rates up to 25 miles per hour depending on your vehicle, and it supports both level 1 and level 2 charging. It includes a NEMA 1450 plug with an adapter to 515, making it compatible with all J1772 EVs and Teslas with the included adapter. It also comes with a wall mount and storage bag. The Tera W01 is a wall-mountable EV charger that delivers 40 amps of output, enabling charging rates up to 40 miles per hour. You can adjust the output from the charger's control panel. It has over-voltage and under-voltage protection, and again is compatible with J1772 vehicles and Teslas using the included adapter. Both of these products are ETL certified, Energy Star, FCC certified, UL listed, and with Tera's presence in the US, they ensure local customer service. To check out these chargers from Tera, click the links in the description below. For the Model S, we expect that even with these changes, like upgraded seats, Tesla will keep the exterior the same, making a plaid and long range look almost the same. However, a big change could be coming to the front bumper on the performance Model 3. The Kilowatts posted a video of a black new Model 3 out for a test drive in San Francisco, still partially covered and sporting red brake calipers. At this point, Tesla has fully unveiled the new Model 3 in all markets, and they haven't been shy when testing prototypes, even in the US. So this covered version is likely to be this missing performance trim. This car features a distinct front bumper splitter that differentiates it subtly from the performance version. It's a bit tough to tell, but this graphic shows the difference a little bit. Using that, one user on X posted some awesome renders of what the finalized version of this car may look like. That updated splitter certainly gives a sporty look to an already very sleek design, and would be one small change that would help Tesla clearly distinguish this car for those looking. Here's another side-by-side with the render to demonstrate the difference you could notice. We're still not sure when this trim will be released, either in the US or overseas, but if they are out testing it on public roads, it must be pretty far in the pipeline. It's very exciting to imagine what great specs this new car will bring, and I can't wait for Tesla to reveal more. I personally would love to see it end up actually being a plaid Model 3, but at this point it seems pretty clear that plaid is reserved for their flagship vehicle. Still, it would be great to see upgraded performance, upgraded exterior styling, a sporty interior, and much more come to a ludicrous Model 3 soon. Next up today, some new Cybertruck owners are putting their trucks to the test to find out just how much range and utility it truly has. YouTuber Jerry Rig Everything posted a video where he pushed the Cybertruck to its absolute limit. He rigged up a trailer weighing 11,000 pounds, started at a 100% charge, and drove until he hit 2% battery. This test was performed mostly on the highway, with air temperatures averaging to just 32 degrees Fahrenheit and in some windy conditions. Driving on 35-inch all-terrain tires, pulling the Cybertruck's max towing capacity, it was able to go 90 miles with a full battery charge. Now that range may seem shockingly low, but there are a few things to consider. First, not only is this truck pulling the highest weight that it is rated for, but it's pulling a Hummer SUV, not exactly the most aerodynamic cargo, which is important. Second, all trucks, whether electric or gas, take a pretty substantial hit to their mileage when towing anything, especially something this heavy. Third, this test was being performed in very cold conditions where all EV battery ranges suffer a bit. Lastly, this vehicle does technically have some more energy that could be used to tow a little further. If we extrapolate that last 2% battery, then the truck could have theoretically gotten another few miles of range from its 123 kilowatt hour battery. Now, most people wouldn't drive their car all the way down to 0% from 100%, but it's important to account for every mile while doing these tests. It's safe to say that this test, while definitely low, is pretty much the worst case scenario for towing with the Cybertruck. Most cases where people need to tow something, they're not going to be bringing something this heavy further than 90 miles anyway. At the same time, this is an excellent case for anybody who plans to do long distance hauling to invest in the range extender. I am also curious to see a few other pieces of information before jumping straight into criticizing the Cybertruck. How do other comparable trucks like the F-150 Lightning or R1T stack up when put through these same conditions? How does the Cybertruck perform in warmer weather or with more efficient tires, which are expected to come soon on this truck? There are a lot of factors to consider here, and I would like to see more testing done on this vehicle in all kinds of circumstances. With that said, it's definitely not living up to that 500-mile range that Tesla originally promised, and I think for a lot of people that is the big issue here. Next, we have some word on Cybertruck production coming out of Giga Texas. Joe Tegtmeyer posted a video of the factory, which shows several dozen Model Ys and Cybertrucks, noting on X that production of both of those vehicles is noticeably up. At the time of filming, Tegtmeyer estimated that there were around 20 Cybertrucks parked in the outbound lot along dozens of Model Ys. It's tough to tell exactly since he can only collect so much footage during short filming sessions, but Tegtmeyer estimates that the factory is producing around 8 or 9 Cybertrucks per hour. Production for this truck has been rapidly expanding and will continue ramping for the rest of 2024. At this rate, we're surely going to be seeing a lot of reservation holders start to receive notifications that their vehicles will be delivered soon. In the same video, Tegtmeyer details some of the other projects that Tesla is working on at the factory. The Boring Company is operating a tunneling machine at the site, which seems to be preparing to dig directly underneath the nearby Highway 130. If so, the tunnel would be nearly 1,000 feet long and would go 55 feet underneath the surface. We're not quite sure what Tesla's plans are here, but it certainly does prompt curiosity. Alongside the tunneling project, Tesla is also working on a new supercharger installation site and making general factory improvements. Between this site and the upgrades being made at Giga Nevada, Tesla is making some pretty big moves at their factories. With their upcoming affordable EVs slated to come out of Giga Texas sometime in the future, they surely have a lot of growth that needs to come to accommodate future plans. I'm excited to see what they're working on here. Next up today, Tesla has always been known for their innovative web presence. They were one of the first major car companies to offer direct-to-consumer ordering. Rather than dealing with car dealerships and middlemen, you could customize and order a car right from the comfort of your own home. And the best part was, the car costs exactly as much as was advertised at, with no hidden fees or dealer markups. As such, their online identity has always been core to Tesla's business. J.D. Power just released their 2024 U.S. manufacturer website evaluation study, and Tesla has done very well. Their site ranked second place overall in customer satisfaction among premium automakers. The study looked at responses from over 1,200 new vehicle shoppers and assessed things like information, content, visual appeal, navigation, and speed. With this, they found something interesting. Automakers with a larger portfolio of EV options tended to fare better in customer satisfaction. This goes to show that Tesla has truly taken the auto industry by storm in multiple ways. They were one of the first car makers to make EVs practical and accessible, prompting the rest of the industry to take notice. This shows that not only does that principle apply to their cars, but to the entire online experience and purchasing process. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. As the updated federal EV tax credit guidelines begin for the new year, a lot of automakers are grappling with how to deal with the impact of those changes. The total number of EVs that qualified for a tax credit dropped from 43 to just 19 eligible vehicles. Among those heavily affected was GM, who said that all of its EVs would lose eligibility except for the Chevy Bolt. They state that these changes are only temporary and that the Cadillac Lyriq and electric Chevy Blazer only lost eligibility because of 2 minor components. As GM works to alter their supply chain to meet tax credit requirements, they have announced to dealers that they will be paying out an equivalent amount to the lost credit, quote, for any vehicles that became ineligible due to the new guidelines. GM expects that the Lyriq and Blazer EVs will regain eligibility in early 2024 and said that the Chevy Equinox, Silverado, GMC Sierra, and Cadillac Optiq produced, quote, after the sourcing change will be eligible for the full incentive. GM clearly expects that this loss of incentive is a temporary snag and doesn't want this to impact customers. It's great that GM is offering continuity and pricing on these vehicles while they sort out supply chains, and I hope more companies do the same to keep up with EV demand and sales for the time being. Regarding EV technology and the future of batteries, a team of researchers out of Harvard University have developed a prototype for a new solid-state battery that they claim can be recharged in just 10 minutes. This battery features a brand new lithium metal anode technology and a special layered structure that helps overcome some of the limitations of solid-state batteries. One of the biggest hurdles for this tech so far is that the charging and discharging process frequently creates microscopic metal projections called dendrites within the battery. These can cause structural damage to the battery that diminishes their effectiveness over time and can create safety hazards. These small bits of damage also create an uneven surface for the battery's interior chemistry to take place, which dramatically increases charge times. These scientists have found a way to prevent this by introducing silicon particles that the lithium is able to attach to itself in order to prevent the reaction that produces the dendrites. Since this process is able to prevent those rough surfaces from forming, that means the battery can recharge very quickly. These researchers so far only have a small prototype, but in early testing it has retained nearly 80% of its capacity after 6,000 cycles. As of now, the school has licensed the technology for further development through a company called Addon Energy, who are currently working on a smartphone-sized battery using this technology. We've been hearing about hypothetical solid-state batteries for a long time now, but it's all still pretty hypothetical at this point. We get a bit closer to this technology becoming feasible for mass adoption. If it can be scaled up to the size of an EV battery pack, then that would be a huge game changer for the industry as a whole, but it's probably still going to be a long wait, especially considering scale. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see what's going on with Teslas in super cold weather in the US, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.